Welcome to another episode of the Jarring Science Club. I'm your host Brenda, and today we're going to be learning about the seasons and making seasons in a jar. Today's activity is a science demonstration, not a science experiment. There are no variables to test. We will just be making models of each of the seasons inside of our jars. Let's get started. Here's what you'll need. 4 jars. They don't have to match. Some dirt for spring and fall. Some sand for summer. Some baking soda for winter. This will be the snow. You'll also need little toys and objects to represent each season. I found a set of animals from around the world that came with like some little greeneries and things, and then we're going to supplement with some other things that we have around the house that kind of match the theme. Here's what we have for spring. We've got some flowers, a butterfly, some grass, a tree. For summer, we've got some grass, some rocks, a little umbrella, some summer bugs, and some rainbow erasers. Fall, we have a pine cone, some leaves, some feathers, and some fall animals. And for winter, we have the snow, we have these little snowflakes, and then we have these little winter animals. Alright guys, to make your jars, all you have to do is take a jar and then fill it up with whatever reminds you of that season. So that'll depend, what you put in your jar will depend on what you have in your classroom or at home. I found a bunch of little animals that I thought represented each season, and that's what we put inside of our season jars. We put soil in spring and fall, and we did sand for summer, and we did baking soda as the snow for winter. We also put like little snowflakes in there, a couple of real things, some fall leaves, some pine cones in the fall one. We did real flowers and some big flowers in the spring one. We did spring bugs. We did summer bugs in the summer jar, along with some grass, a little umbrella, a little rock. And in the winter jar, we put a polar bear, penguin, and some little plastic snowflakes that I had. You can use mini erasers or just little toys or anything that you want to represent your jars. Just make sure that they're distinctly for that season to remind you of what season it is. Then you can kind of see at a glance what the different seasons are like and how they look different in your normal 4-season climate zone. All right, I'm going to show you my little jars that I made, and you can use them as inspiration for making your own season jars. All right, here we have our season jars. In this one, we've got polar bear, penguin, some baking soda snow, some little snowflakes. Then we have spring. In spring we got some soil, some flowers, a butterfly, a new green tree with leaves, some real pea flowers. Here in our summer jar, we've got some summer bugs, some sand, a rock, an umbrella, and some grass. And then in our fall jar, we've got some soil, some leaves, a pine cone, a little fox, a little squirrel, and that's it. Here's the science. Today for our experiment, we made different season jars to represent the different seasons in the world. In a lot of places of the world where people live, there are 4 distinct seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Many places in the world have seasons. A lot of places where humans live do have seasons. Some have all 4 distinct seasons, some have more like 2 seasons, and some places don't really have seasons, and that's determined by how close to the equator you live. The Earth has 2 ways of moving. It spins like this, and then it also spins in orbit around the sun. To revolve one time around itself takes about a day. That's why we have day and night, because whenever you're facing the sun, it's your day. When you're facing away from the sun, it's your night. It takes about 365 days for the Earth to make a complete orbit around the sun, and that's why we call that a year. But it's not these movements of the Earth that cause the seasons. Seasons are caused by the tilt of the Earth. The tilt of the Earth changes where the sun hits in the sky depending on where it is in its revolution and its orbit. The higher the sun is in the sky, the warmer it gets, which causes spring and summer. Whenever the sun is lower in the sky, we get less sunlight, which cools things down, and we get fall and winter. The closer you get towards the center of the Earth, the less difference there is in the placement of the sun in the sky. That's why regions in the equator don't really get seasons. And because of the tilt of the Earth causing seasons, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere have opposite seasons. When it's cold in the northern hemisphere, it's hot in the southern hemisphere. Our 4 seasons are spring, summer, fall, and winter. When days and nights are the same length, that's spring. A lot of new plants come out and emerge in the spring, and animals tend to have their young during the spring season as well. Spring is typically characterized by a lot of rain, warmer temperatures, and sometimes a lot of thunderstorms. During summer, the sun is the highest it will ever be, which makes things the warmest. During the summer, we get a lot of really hot days. Summer begins on the longest day of the year. Summer is a period of time of when the days are the longest and the nights are shorter. The summer is often a time of harvest for many fruits and vegetables, which is why you'll often see a lot more variety of fruits and vegetables at your grocery store during the summer than other times of the year. The fall, again, is a time when days and nights are about equal length. During the fall, you start to see temperatures kind of cool, the sun's a little lower in the sky, animals start bulking up for the winter season. You'll see a lot of vegetables and a lot of root vegetables mature during the fall, which is why a lot of times we celebrate fall with pumpkins and squash and things like that, because those are in season during the fall. And the leaves will start to drop, and a lot of the earth prepares for the winter season. Winter starts on the shortest day of the year. Usually the shortest day of the year starts around December 21st. The holiday season and Christmas and all of those winter celebrations, many cultures have different winter celebrations that celebrate the shortest day of the year. During the winter, a lot of animals go into hibernation, trees stop producing leaves unless they're evergreen, and things start freezing over, getting icy and cold depending on where you live. In our season jar experiment, we made a little jar representing each of the seasons. So my question is, how many seasons do you get in your area, and how do they change? Do you have the typical 4 seasons? Do you live in an area where you have more like a hot season and a cold season? Maybe you have a dry season and a wet season. Maybe you live close to the equator and you basically have temperate weather year round. That's it for today. See you next time.